The battle between Thanos and Dungeon Lord Gorgu raged. Both opponents assumed their best anime fighting poses, sized up their opponent, and then exchanged blows, magic missiles, and/or telepathic insults. But even though the fight dragged on due to Gorgu's inexperience, the end was predestined. Thanos was forced further and further into the defensive. In his distress, Thanos saw himself with only one remaining option. He took the stones of finitude and stuffed them into his mouth. Thanos was bathed in an unnatural light, with flames rising from his eyes. He grew and grew as his muscles swelled and his body deformed. This discharge hurled the stones of finitude away yet again and scattered them in all directions. In his new form, Thanos was now significantly stronger than the inexperienced Gorgu, and with one mighty blow, the mutation hurled the Dungeon Lord in training to the side. Then the creature turned towards Talia. Its eyes began to flash. Destructive laser beams, yes, that's really what it says here, shot out of its eyes toward the Dark Elf to destroy her. But this was the moment for heroes, and so Tristan pushed his stepsister Talia aside, out of the line of fire. So now, instead of Talia, Tristan was scorched by Thanos' laser eyes. Talia had no time to check on her stepbrother, but fled as fast as she could. If Thanos had fully unleashed the gauntlet's power, transforming into a giant monster that was definitely not green for trademark reasons. High energy light shot from his eyes, melting everything in its path.
The goddess of light has blessed me. The cleansing light of my eyes will burn all evil from the face of the earth.
She can't bless anyone anymore!
And even under the earth you are not safe, you despicable creatures.
Thanos' laser eyes carved a hole in the ground that stretched down into the depths of the dungeon. If these lasers were to hit the dungeon heart, it would be the end of the absolute evil. Meanwhile, in the underground, Talia had other things she considered important.
Yeah, I know. You're gonna make some hackneyed crack about women and mirrors now, you miserable chauvinist. The fact is, that thing gives me a brain.
The laser eyes were leaving a trail of devastation through the dungeon. But in the middle of their path, by pure chance, of course, stood Talia's mirror.
What devilry! Talia, you vile thing! You are truly the most evil spawn that ever existed! Just wait until my eyes have recovered. Then my cleansing gaze will burn you to ashes!
That Thanos is such a miserable jerk. He doesn't even notice when he puts himself out of action. I mean, that was my ingenious plan all along, of course. Unfortunately, my mirror also broke in the process. Where am I going to get a new one now?
Talia and the Absolute Evil had nothing to counter Thanos' gigantic laser eyes at the moment. Both agreed that a strategic withdrawal from these lands was the wisest choice for the time being.
So, well, if that's what the narrator says, then that's probably what happened, right? But fine. For now, it probably really makes sense to get the hell out of Dodge. Forward, creatures! Line up in rows of 2. Hold the creature next to you by the hand, and then run away in panic!
While Talia gazed sadly at the remains of the mirror, the Council of Little Snots suddenly spoke up out of nowhere. It just so happened that they had just bought a huge stock of leftover mirrors, but since they all wore robes where you could barely make out their faces, they didn't have any use for them. However, the Council of Little Snots was planning a huge feast called Thanks Gobbler. In exchange for some of those delicious birds, the council was more than willing to provide one of its mirrors.
Can't they just send us the mirror anyway? Oh, but fine. Forwards! Move it! Feed the gobblers, raise them, give them food, spiked with hormones and medicine. Wait, why am I even laughing?
Payday! Creatures are collecting their pay. A few of Tanos's more fanatical followers were not frightened by their leader's monstrosity, but rather encouraged. They gleefully rushed into the dungeon to attack it. Your little snots have dug into a spider nest. Your enemies are in the dungeon. A few manivores have appeared in your dungeon. Your little snots have dug up a spider. The dungeon-digging evil had discovered an artifact. The stuff-collecting evil sent a shipment to the Council of Little Snots.
I may be momentarily blinded, but I have my eye drops here somewhere, and then we'll have a little tea, Tanya.
Ding dong, it's payday. The resource-gathering evil sent a partial shipment off to the Council of Little Snots. A few manivores have appeared in your dungeon. The resource-generating evil sent a shipment off to the Council of Little Snots.
There are enemies in your dungeon.
The Council of Little Snots was more than pleased with the many delicious gobblers the farm-owning evil had sent them. Grateful for its delivery, the Council of Little Snots sent the reflectionless evil a shiny new mirror.
Splendid! This will help us stop Thanos. At least once.
My vision has cleared again. Time for some purifying fire. Look me in the eyes!
Thanos' eyes had calmed down again, and once more lasers shot out, burning through the underground. Manivores have been discovered in your dungeon. Payday!
I would regret killing two of my children on the same day. I will give you one final chance to return to the light. Actually, that's a different lie.
Are you already starting to throw out classic villain cliches? There's only room for one bad guy here, and that's me. And I'm having a lot of fun with it too.
So you choose the path of death.
A room in the dungeon was slowly being destroyed by Thanos' laser eyes.
Ah, my eyes! Talia, you vile creature! You dare to oppose the light? Good will always win!
Although the mirror had once again stopped Thanos, it again broke under the strain.
Oops. Now that's a little suboptimal. Does this mean I have to rely on that Council of Little Snots advice again?
The Council of Little Snots felt not only mystical, but also magical. However, insomuch as the council members were as magical as moldy bread, they wished for some manna in exchange for a mirror. The Council of Little Snots looked happy and magical as balls of manna were tossed around like volleyballs. Another mirror from the Council of Little Snots was delivered to the dungeon.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
Payday. Your little snots have dug up a spider.
That is spreading through the underground there. Talia, surrender now and beg forgiveness.
Oh, of course I beg forgiveness. I beg forgiveness for not putting your head on a freaking spear again.
It's payday.
Your gold vein is nearly exhausted. Evil's army reached a destroyed bridge, once known as the Bridge of Death, before countless swallows of unknown origin landed on it. Perhaps the nearby hero camp held an alternative way to cross the gorge. Tanos' gaze was no longer clouded. Lasers shot out of his eyes and burned their way through the dungeon. Tanos' laser eyes hit a room in the dungeon and began to vaporize it. The invading Evil's armies had captured a city belonging to Tanos' fanatical followers. A mysterious portal lay within.
My eyes!
The Council of Little Snots had had enough of snow castles melting on them. Now instead, a fort was to be built from toolboxes that would hold up well. In exchange for some of those toolboxes, the Council of Little Snots would be only too happy to part with one of its mirrors. The resource-gathering evil sent a partial shipment off to the Council of Little Snots. The proper resources-lacking evil sent an empty-handed messenger to the Council of Little Snots. The resourceless evil sent a partial shipment of nothing off to the Council of Little Snots. The proper resources-lacking evil sent an empty-handed messenger to the Council of Little Snots. The resourceless evil sent a partial shipment of nothing off to the Council of Little Snots. The proper resources-lacking evil sent an empty-handed messenger to the Council of Little Snots. The resourceless evil sent a partial shipment of nothing off to the Council of Little Snots. The proper resources-lacking evil sent an empty-handed messenger to the Council of Little Snots. Happily sending its creatures through weird portals, Evil had successfully used a teleportation portal and thus managed to lead its creatures across the gorge. The stuff-collecting evil sent a shipment to the Council of Little Snots. Ding dong! It's payday! Your little snots have dug up a spider. Your portal is under attack. Manivores have been discovered in your dungeon. The resource-gathering evil sent a partial shipment on its way to the Council of Little Snots. Enemies are in the dungeon. The resource-generating evil sent a shipment off to the Council of Little Snots. A new area has been unearthed in the dungeon. The stuff-collecting evil sent a shipment to the Council of Little Snots. Your little snots have dug into a spider nest.
Talia, You will have to account for your actions. Once I have purified you, then you can face the goddess herself and ask for forgiveness. I can no longer forgive you.
Oh, the things you worry about, you crazy old man.
The resourceless evil sent a partial shipment of nothing off to the Council of Little Snots.
It's payday.
A few manivores have appeared in your dungeon. The resource-gathering evil sent a partial shipment on its way to the Council of Little Snots. A new area of the dungeon has been discovered. Your gold vein is nearly exhausted. The proper resources lacking evil sent an empty-handed messenger to the Council of Little Snots. His eyes had cleared, and again they burned through the underground. The resource-generating evil sent a shipment off to the Council of Little Snots. Enemies have entered the dungeon. The resourceless evil sent a partial shipment of nothing off to the Council of Little Snots. Resources lacking evil sent an empty-handed messenger to the Council of Little Snots. The laser from Tanos's eyes hit one of the unamused evil's rooms and began to destroy it. The Council of Little Snot's toolbox fort was starting to take shape. A courier with a mirror was gratefully sent on their way. Another mirror from the Council of Little Snots was delivered to the glamorous evil's dungeon.
What is that? I have been blinded! You fire scum! How dare you resist?
The Council of Little Snots was preparing for the so-called Feast of the Round Bellies. The only thing still missing were a few gobblers for the celebration. A mirror beckoned in return. The Feast of Round Bellies could now finally be celebrated, thanks to the generous donation of gobblers. The Council of Little Snots sent the glittering evil another mirror.
My eyes are getting used to this darkness. I can sense the enemy in my surroundings. I'm going to... Out! Ah! I stumped my foot, damn it! Your little snots have completely mined out its gold vein. Conquering evil had destroyed a second base full of Tanos's fanatics. Its troops were able to use the portal there to cross the gorge again. Enemies have entered the dungeon.
Your portal is under attack. Ding dong! It's payday!
Sight! I need my eyes again so that I can burn the heretics! Ah!
A gold vein has been mined out. Tanos's laser eyes hit a room in the dungeon and began to vaporize it. Tanos's gaze was no longer clouded. Lasers shot out of his eyes and burned their way through the dungeon. Your gold vein is nearly exhausted. Payday.
My eyes!
The Council of Little Snots wanted some blight for their soon-to-be-held Halloween party to give it that authentic, putrid smell. In return, they would be only too happy to send the absolute evil one of their mirrors. Musty smells wafted up the Council of Little Snots' noses as they took delivery of the fresh, or not-so-fresh, light from the musty evil. Another mirror from the Council of Little Snots was delivered to the glamorous evil's dungeon. Talia and the Absolute Evil had finally reached the evacuation point for their tactical retreat.
Phew, that was really something. We urgently need a way to stop Tanos again. I still have that sharp-pointed spear, just pining for Tanos's head.
To be able to stop Tanos again, it would probably be necessary to reassemble the Gauntlet of Finitude. However, the stones that filled the gauntlet were scattered in all directions. It would take some time to round them all up.
Of course. Nothing in this stupid dungeon series is ever easy. Any sensible person would think to themselves, boom, let's just beat the crap out of him and that's it. But no, I have to go through the countryside and collect some stupid stones. Okay, fine. Let's get this over with so I can get back to the point where I put Tanos' head on a spear.